Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Azabi here, back again with Hunter x Hunter. We're on episode 117, and in the last episode, was probably my favourite episode, I think, so far. It wasn't that far behind or ahead, I should say, of my previous two favourite episodes, which were episode 111, sorry, and episode 112. But I mean, it's not really a surprise that it would come up to, because everything leading up to this whole mission, it's not a surprise that like any of these episodes could easily just fit into being my favorite episode, because the previous episodes leading up to like everything happening right now is it's all great. So it's not a surprise, but it was just everything I talked about it in my post discussion for episode 116, that like everything just fit into place like so well in that episode. You know what I mean? There wasn't like the visuals were great, the voice acting was fantastic, the use of like sound and audio was great, and yeah, just like the relationships and how I sort of feel about certain like characters now is definitely like changed, like the likes of like Nefapito and stuff. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how things unfold after Nefapito is done with healing Kamugi up to a certain point, because that's really to determine how I feel about Nefa's character as a whole. I said last episode that I feel like after that last episode I was kind of on the fence about how I should feel about it, because I feel like they ruined a good fight for like with Gun and Nefapito, because now I don't really want, because I was feeling for Nefapito last episode, so whereas before I was like, I mean, I like the character, but there was like a sort of innate hatred there because of what she did to Kite and stuff, and I was feeling that similar to Gun, that it would be a great just sort of like let Gun go fucking nuts, and let's see a really cool fucking shonen fight go down. But it's definitely, I'm definitely like not opposed to like this whole idea, like the route we're going down with this, because I feel like it's still an interesting path to go down. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. But really, other than that, there's nothing else to really talk about other than like the fact that Knuckle and Yuppie are still, I guess Yuppie's still chasing Knuckle around somewhere for that one-on-one fight. Shoot is still trying to stay awake, bless him. We'll have a Calgo who's still looking for Palm. Welfin, don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's just like in his own head. He's this own side fucking thing that's going on with him. And yeah, we didn't really see Morel and Shia the last two episodes. And I honestly, I was feeling this last episode as well, but I feel like there is going to be a moment where Shia turns up and we're not even going to know what happened to Morel, and we're just going to be left to just like imagination kind of stuff. And I mean, I did say going into this that I feel like Morel might that it might be it for him this mission, because there was a bit of like foreshadowing, like the death flag stuff that he was saying about like after this, he was saying like we're shooting Knuckle that will go out for a drink and stuff, setting up the death flags already, and also previous episodes and stuff, he'd fought loads, like we'd seen him fight quite a bit. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Shia hasn't come up with Cocoon yet anyway, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm rambling on. So we'll just get straight into episode 117 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 117. Alright, well, 3 minutes have passed since the beginning of the mission. So not a lot. Not a lot at all. I mean, to be honest, at some point I was expecting like them to bring this back up, and it would probably like it would be less than 3 minutes, because so actually 3 minutes to me, I'm thinking it's like fucking hell, it's actually longer than I thought, because like the last time they mentioned it was like 10 seconds, and I was like, how is that even possible? Like there was things that happened in between there that 10 seconds was like, it seemed impossible, even with like anime time and stuff, like because things had happened within that period of time that I just feel like just wasn't possible within 10 seconds, just wasn't. You know what I mean? Like Gon and Killua ran from the portal, they encountered Yuppie for, I guess, what would have to have been like 4 seconds. You know what I mean? Killua and Gon carried on. Killua split off. killed two things, came back. I mean, that would have had to have been like at least like 2 seconds, like, and then they had to make their way up the stairs. I don't know. I don't know. It's sometimes just nuts. But anyway, yeah. So we'll go from the very beginning of the episode. So yeah, Mello did end up finding Killua from the whole thing that was happening with Gon, which I figured it would when, you know, Gon's like just going absolutely crazy. It was essentially rumbling the whole place. So yeah, Mello finding Killua. I love the fact that he's like puts his hand on his shoulder and gives him like that sort of wry smile. That's great, you know. It's like, you can count on me. It's great. I love it. It's great having like Mello have that sort of like position. And yeah, so the idea was to go get Killua and then bring him to the whole Knuckle and Yuppie thing, which in the end will probably be Knuckle saving grace, I'd imagine. The reason is because with Knuckle finding now the perfect time to attack in the charge up phase is, you know, it's like hitting an enemy at its weakest. It's like a boss fight in, like, you know, like a video game or something like that. They're charging up, they aren't really defending themselves, so it's the perfect time to attack. The problem is that he's charging up an explosion. Like, it's like a self-destruct thing. Before, I don't know really how much time he has to get in and out. Like, it seemed like he didn't have a lot. It's like as soon as he was starting like to charge up, Knuckle was like, right, I'm getting the fuck out of there. Except, like, so this time he has to get in there, land at least a few shots, and then get out of there. And I feel like he just fucking managed to miss it the first time without even, like, you know, by getting away immediately. So I feel like it's a case of, like, it's an interesting sort of dynamic, I suppose, because on one hand, you had the Yuppie with the whole, like, selflessness thing, right, that he's got going on now. But then on, like, the other side, you've got Knuckle and Shoot being selfish. So, you know, going away from the main goal, the main priority of the mission, to assert their own sort of like pride within it, because, you know, they feel like, you know, like they were just looked down upon, and they just want to fucking teach them a lesson, kind of, so to speak, you know. Which, I mean, I just, I mean, I get it in a way. Like, it is sort of like admirable that Knuckle was doing that for Shoot's sake, and you know, and it's admirable on that front. But again, like, the amount of times, like, I've heard Killua, like, say it, and yeah, he's like saying it to Gon all the time, to like just follow the mission and don't deviate from it, and then they just do it. It's like, fuck's sake, man. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like the whole idea of this, like, it has to happen for a reason. The idea I'm thinking is possibly, whilst Yuppie is so focused on Knuckle, that allows Mello and Killua to get some sneak attack on him, right? And Killua is assured that he only needs one, even for the likes of Yuppie, which it's going to depend. I mean, the interesting thing about Mello's ability to completely make them unperceivable is that it doesn't mean that they are unperceivable, not only to the enemy or anyone else around them, but also the viewer as well. Like, it allows for that to be the case to the viewer. Like, at any point, they can have Mello and Killua technically be in the shot, but not as well. Which means that I feel like there is going to be a point. I'm almost tempted to think, I don't think we're going to see Mello and Killua again until that one hit, I think. That one shot that's going to be meant to kill him. So, you know, because that's what I would do. I think story-wise, that's the best thing you can do right now. Now it's going to depend, I think, on, with Knuckle clearly saying, well, I guess the narrator said it, right, that Knuckle had found out, like, this is the perfect time to attack. When he's charging up, he's at his most, you know, he doesn't have any defense up, so it's the best time to attack him. So I would think that that would probably be the best time to land this sneak attack with Killua and stuff. It's just going to be a question of whether or not he thinks that way. I mean, but there's no other character that is perfect for that right now, because with him being like, you know, an ex-assassin and whatever, and he has that within him, it's taken the like at the most opportune time, and you know, getting the job done at the perfect time within one fell swoop. Which leads us to what happened with Cheeto, and just take it out like that. I mean, I'm kind of happy. I'm happy it was just done like that, you know. I mean, I figured it would. I didn't expect Silver to come like flying in though, because even Zeno would have been like, you know what I mean? Like, it just would have been nothing. I was saying during the reaction, Cheeto's like, he doesn't understand. Like, he's so childlike that he, you know, he's so like, he's gullible. The fact that he can think that he can just take down Zeno, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not gonna happen, mate. So yeah, Silva just coming in, kill him off in one hit. So yeah, like I say, like, it's just that assassin way of dealing with something in a quick and efficient, effective method. So I would assume that Killua would understand the best time to strike and make sure that, you know, the only problem is because Mello is on a time limit, that, you know, it's going to be a case of, like, you know, wait for the opportune moment, and it could be another case of Mello, like, you know, struggling for air again. But, you know, we'll see. So yeah, what else? Yeah, Zeno was saying that he only goes after his targets as well, and that he hasn't killed anybody else since becoming the head of the family. So I guess he did it before he became head, just before, and then once he did, he never killed anybody that wasn't his target. Which yeah, I mean, that goes back to when they were facing off against Crollo, and at the very last minute when, like, Illumi and whatnot were, because it was Illumi and Kaluto, right, and they were they'd sort of phoned up or whatever and called off the contract or whatever it was, or forced the guys who put out the contract to hit to take it off, and then, you know, suddenly that fight, they just stopped it and they left, you know. So yeah. So yeah, Yuppie transforming into that, like, an expansive mass and simply exploding. And the narrator was talking about how that was his sort of that was his deal. Like, that's how it was always meant to be. So I guess he's like, you see, because not like beforehand, I would have, like, when he just exploded, I would have said it was like a last resort kind of thing. It's just like a massive fucking self-destruct thing. But the fact is that he comes back down. It's like Fat Gum in My Hero that I'm watching right now. By the time this comes out on YouTube for the general public, like, I'm sure season 4 will be over and done with. But, like, you know, that was like the last episode that I watched up until this point when I'm recording this, was that episode where Fat Gum, like, sort of, you know, he took all of the punishment into his fat, and then, you know, he basically generated it all into power, and then he became skinny. So it's like that. It's very similar. But yeah, I mean, every time, like, he transforms, it just is like Resident Evil. It's exactly that, you know. Like, when he's just because that's what ends up happening with their like the bosses, like the tyrants and stuff. That you kill them, and then they keep coming back, and they evolve just into, like, more of a grotesque, just like general, just like massive, just like goop and shit. So yeah, I really get that sort of feeling from them. Like, all of the eyes as well. Like, that's like a Resident Evil thing. And it's going to be a case of whether or not, like, those are obvious sort of weak points as well. Like, where do you hit him? I know he's charging up and everything, but I guess, like, where, like, is there any place that would be preferred, like, you would prefer to hit him than, you know, to do, like, as much damage as possible? I just don't know how Knuckles is going to get out there, and I don't know if it's a case of, like, I'm going to take the punishment to get off some hits on him. But then why would it matter? Like, because he knows how the tax thing works, right? So it's not like, I mean, he has to get in there do damage and get out without being hit to actually make it for that attack to be worth it, right? But then again, like in his head, all he's thinking is like, I just want to get some punches off on him. Now I don't really know how like clear he's really thinking in terms of like, you know, art about getting damage on him. But I mean, he said that he noted that the idea of hitting him when he's weakest, get some really strong hits in when he's at his, you know, he's most vulnerable, to do with that insurance thing. So, but you know, but it's all about like him at the moment wanting to get some kind of, you know, redemption and let out that sort of that frustration, you know, because his pride's hurting. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how he gets out of there without getting hit, really. But yeah, again, like I feel like I can picture in my head a moment where Knuckles in there, he can't get out, and it's like, is this it? And then Killua comes in, saves the day. Generally, this show isn't known for that. You know, it's not a case of like every shonen where just at the last second someone comes in to save the day. You know, which I love when that happens, of course, but like generally it can be predictable in that regard. And Hunter x Hunter's not really that way inclined. So, you know, that's not really. I feel like it would work for this, for this event. I feel like it would be fine doing it now because you've got the perfect opportunity with Mello and Killua being completely unperceivable, meaning they can come out of nowhere. Like there's a story sort of and a valid sort of reason for it, other than just for the fact that it's Deus Ex Machina kind of shit, right? For those of you who don't know, Deus Ex Machina is basically the sort of like overall sort of definition of it is that, you know, at any point, like they just throw out a reason to save somebody, right? Probably like, it's like plot armor. You would think like it would be something similar to that. It's like, oh well, he's got plot armor, right? Because, you know, of course someone will come out and save the day and save him. You know, so it's sort of like similar to that. But I feel like within this sort of event, that makes sense. With the abilities in play and stuff. And the fact is that how many times has it truly happened in this show where like at the last moment where someone's about to die, someone's came in and saved the day? It hasn't really happened that much considering it's a shonen, so, you know, consider it a shonen anyway. You know, so yeah, there's that. And yeah, I mean, other than that, that's really all I've got. I love that. I find it funny now anytime Welfin comes onto the screen. Because it like, even then, there was not like, they didn't have any dialogue from him at all. He's just standing there, just looking on. Like, I just sat there wondering, like, what's he thinking right now? You know what I mean? Like, because, yeah, I stand by what I said. It's like a different show with him. You know, it's like a whole different thing going on with him. Like, he's like fighting against himself, like in his own head, because he's so just like suspicious of everything. It's great. It's funny. But yeah, I mean, that's all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I've linked to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well, so if you do want to support me, that'd be very much appreciated. I'm trying to get back to doing full-time again with this, so if you do, go help me, that'd be very much appreciated. I'll be able to get out more content for you guys more frequently. So the tiers there are early access, $5 a month, gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunter x Hunter every week. That's 2 on Monday and 2 on Friday. So by the time this episode comes out for the general public, I'll probably be finished the show. So that means that if you become an early access tier patron right now, and you can binge watch from now until the end of the show, you'll probably be able to watch all of those reactions within a month, and it's only going to cost you $5 for that whole thing, so it's a pretty good deal. There's also full length there for $10 a month. That doesn't matter for this show because it's full length anyway, but for other shows you will need that. And then there are other tiers where you can pay to have me react to a show. So if you want me to react to a show, go have a look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.